So today I want to talk about a technique I have used over many years when I'm about to make a big, bold choice or I've made a big plan and there's little bits of fear coming up. This is what I do to kind of work through that and test myself. And I'm a preparer, a planner. So it's something that helps my brain actually feel a calmness about the plan. So this is going to sound counterintuitive, but I'm an endlessly optimistic person. So that's not the usual way that someone would assume an optimist thinks. But for me, that helps me regain control. It helps me feel secure in knowing I have a plan. So for instance, back in 2013, 2014, I had a women's trip I was going to go on to Israel and Palestine. And we were going to work with women from both areas and just do a lot of soul work and a lot of connection and let them know they are not alone and all of these things. And I was going with a group. It was going to be it wasn't religious based or anything like that. And I had some people express some, very serious concerns of why I would even consider doing that. And I had to just do this gut check of, okay, what's the worst thing that could happen? The worst thing that happens is I don't come back. Okay, so if that happens, what can I do to prepare for that? I can have a living will in place. I can have, I record, anytime I've ever had surgery, I record videos for my kids and my husband beforehand. I have my wishes laid out. I live daily on this level of trying to live my best life. And so at some point, I don't want to be reckless, but I don't want to be afraid to make the choices I need to make for my life. And so that situation was one where I had to say, okay, let's go to worst case scenario, and then let's work our way back. So once I can kind of wrap my brain around worst case scenario, what are some other things I can do? What's some lesser things that could happen? Ultimately, some bombing and fighting ended up happening again there right before we were supposed to go. So we had to switch it, and we went throughout Europe, and it was lovely. I met all sorts of lovely women, but that has been something I've carried with me many times. And so whether it was deciding to go back to school or not, what's the worst thing that can happen? The amount of money it'll cost, the time away from family. What if all of our home life falls apart because I'm too busy? So laying out those options, since I just brought up school, is, okay, so if these are the things that I see that could be potential issues that could arise, what can I do to kind of get a handle on them? Sometimes there's nothing we can do, but sometimes there is something. So for school, I 6 months ahead of time started drastically reducing my mental load, my workload, the amount of social commitments I had. I wanted to get my home ready for me not being here as much after decades of me holding kind of it all together. The same is true with traveling full time. What's the worst that can happen? How can we prepare for that? For us, a big security thing is having enough in the bank and money. We have control of the places we choose to go. We can set things up in as responsible a way as possible, both fiscally, security-wise, having laid out good communication with family members and friends, so we're leaving on good terms. How can we, when we choose a place, choose the safer places and locations? And I have a whole other video about that, about conquering fear with travel specifically. I'll put that link in the description. But what this does is going to the worst case. It's actually not like a dooms way of thinking. It's empowering. Because if you can start to handle those worst scenarios, then you can handle anything less than that happens. So that would be my biggest tip, is if you're wanting to sell everything in RV across America, or you're wanting to open a business, what are the things that could go terribly wrong? Okay, what can we do? Let's pick the top 3. Is there something we can do proactively to make those have less of a chance of things going wrong. And for so many things, communication is a big one. Letting people know expectations ahead of time is a big one. Money is a big one. Health, what can we do to not put ourselves in a position now where we're out somewhere and we don't have our medications or what we need? How can we prepare in the best way possible for that? So that's what I would encourage you to do. That's what has worked for me. Go to worst case, work your way back. Because inevitably someone's going to come to you and say, what about this? And you're like, no, I thought of that. I got a plan. We're good. And we all know that life happens anyways. We could have something crazy and horrible happen while we're sitting in our own home. So I'm not about being reckless, but I also think if my time to go is when I'm out there living my best life, then that's how it's going to be. I refuse to sit in fear because of some inability for me to handle the situation or to take a slight risk, because there is no perfectly safe option in life. We don't get through this life with nothing happening. So choose wisely and be smart and do everything you can to prepare. But yes, pick a backup plan. Have some ideas in mind. Write them down if you need. Talk about it with someone trusted if that helps you, and go from there. So hope that helps. If you have any other suggestions or things that have worked for you, please share them in the comments. I love forming this community space where we can all share what works for us and learn from each other. So have a great day. Bye.